What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host.
It's your boy, Mod. What's good, Jay?
Not much, man. So today, we're going to have a conversation with Detroit chainsaw metalers, Centenary.
That's right. Yeah, Jesse Dupree's wet dream, as I stated.
Yeah.
The Chainsaw Massacre coming your way.
So this is a Zoom podcast, so we just do this quick intro, and you guys are going to see it right now. Hope you enjoy the conversation, and stick around to the end and support Centenary and Detroit chainsaw metals. Mike, I'm Jay.
What's up, Mike?
Pleasure.
I'm Nick. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Nick, the new guy?
Yeah, new guy, Nick. I'll take it all day long. Do I still look new? All right.
Hey, thanks for coming on with us, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. I watched a Black Temple episode this week and stuff like that. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. Yeah, them are the boys. We go way back with them.
Yeah.
Definitely some friends. So, hey, man, we got some questions here for you. We want to, promote your band Centenary, right? That's right.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly, even though it's actually the word is centenary, but
Centenary?
I do it stupid. Yeah.
Okay.
But you say it the way that Jay said it?
Centenary, yes, please.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Where does that come from? What does that mean?
The word centenary is basically 100-year-old party.
Okay.
Kind of like a bicentennial would be celebrating 200 years, right? Well,
Sure.
a centenary celebrates 100 years.
Okay. Yeah, like a centenarian or something, a person of 100 years of age. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, if you make it to 110 years old, you get to be called a super centenarian. So you can actually live to be super in your lifetime, Mike.
That's cool. I didn't know that. Shit.
Good luck.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, right. Let's hope modern science keeps me around that long, right?
Right. Well, the way
Right.
it's progressing, maybe AI will help us out,
All right. So what do I got to start going by? John Connor? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we are joined here with Mike. Your last name's Bradley, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Awesome.
Good morning.
And you're the guitar player?
Guitar player, founding member. Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah. We're fans of guitar players around here. So tell me a little bit, Mike, just about the inception of the band, because I told you I was friends with Jim, right? I knew Jim because he played in Genesia.
Correct.
And our previous band, Infinite Design, we played with them a handful of times, and that's kind of how I know him. And then obviously, we know Eric, and it's always 3 or 4 degrees of separation, especially in the world that we live in, this extreme metal world, right? So
Sure. Everybody knows everybody. If you're doing it right.
Yep. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the inception of the band, Mike.
Back in 2014, I was still doing my previous line of work. I was an over-the-road trucker. I was already in several bands throughout the years. And I started noticing, I guess you could say, paying attention to music online and whatever else, a resurgence, if you will, back in those days. Certain bands like Valenfire, they started using the HM2 pedal and getting that noise. Well, being a fan of it forever, I heard that and I'm like, well, shit, I could probably do that, So I was like, if I do a band, I'm going to do one more band and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it. And it's going to be like this. And previously in other bands, I either did vocals or played bass. I've been playing guitar since I was 13, off and on. So this time around, I'm like, well, I'm not going to get anybody to do what I want to do, so I might as well do it. So
Yeah,
I started playing guitar again and bought a bunch of gear and whatever else, and had, I guess you could call, my first Facebook buddy I ever got, which was also in 2014, helped me figure out a way to emulate the sound and to be able to pull it off right on stage, because that's something that eluded me forever. So he actually knew the settings and everything like that on the amplifier and shit like that, like the guys in Dismember use. And so I went with that and I kind of converted it over into my own way. And the band started out in November 2014. with certain other people that will remain nameless. And yeah, because I'm not a shit talker either.
I am, but I'm just not on camera.
So it's all right, you know.
Cash me outside, they say.
But that was the start of it. Shortly after that, I ended up getting out of the trucking business and started doing the band thing a little bit more full time.
Fuck yeah.
We had several lineup changes throughout the course of that 1 year. And in 2015 is when Jim Albrecht from Genesia joined the band. And then shortly after that, I recruited Matt Cunningham, the lead guitarist, and my good buddy Al, who's our vocalist, and another drummer at the time. And then that lasted for a while. And I've gone through 2 more drummers since then. But the main part of the band has stayed as a whole since about 2016. So
Okay.
this is actually going to be, I guess you could call it I call it the decade of the chainsaw dismemberment this year. It's our
Nice.
10-year end.
Nice. I heard you mention dismember. That's your old school sound comes to mind the first thing when I listen to you guys, right? Like
Thank you.
Dismember comes to mind, Obituary. Your vocalist sometimes even has this higher register, like an old school Death, like Chuck Schuldiner with his highs. I've noticed that. So I really like your band. You guys are fun. You keep it old school, and us being old school guys as well. Like it's fun for me because it takes me back. You know, like not everything has to be over the top. 2024 technicality all over the place, and that's what I like. Is it seems you stay true to that sound. You were looking for a certain sound, and that's what you got, and you're like kind of stay true to it. Is that a fair representation of what you guys stand for, basically?
Oh, well, that the band wise maybe, but not necessarily influence wise. It's
Okay.
more trying to emulate the Left Hand Path record than anything else.
Okay.
Even
All
though
right,
even though the Dismember guys have made absolutely killer music throughout the years, out of all of the Stockholm-based bands, they're the most consistent. Not to mention the fact that they also did, Carnage for a hot minute, which is probably one of the all-time best records that was ever made as far as the genre is concerned. And but yeah, it's more about Left Hand Path than anything else. The Entombed record,
Okay.
and I'm kind of a purist about it. It's like that, the Crawl EP, and the rest of it's kind of like, that's just me.
Okay.
all right.
Do you have
all
anything,
right.
Nick?
I was noticing maybe like kind of like sounds like it reminded me of Grave, like that old school bass distortion cranked up to 11. I was picking out like 6 Feet Under, Obituary, even the new stuff like Sang with Sugabog, just in terms of tone, maybe not even song style or anything, but and then I was listening to some old school, I pronounce it Celtic Frost. I was listening to
Tom G. Warrior, bro. Totally. Oh yeah.
yeah, like so the Morbid Tales album.
One of my all-time favorites.
So yeah, I was picking apart that. It was actually just ironic that I would link those two because I took a phone call from my uncle and he was like, "Yeah, oh, you're doing the podcast? Well, tell Jason I said hi and that Celtic Frost, the album I just mentioned, Morbid Tales is one of the heaviest albums of all time, or is the heaviest album of all time." And so I was like, okay, well, I got 5 minutes, and I started listening to it, and I kind of know what to expect, but I was like, holy shit, this sounds like the band I'm fucking talking about, to like Centenary. I was like, this is ironic as fuck, but but yeah, no, those are the influences I got. So tell me I'm wrong, tell me I missed the mark, but or any other influences you might have.
So you guys are hitting the marks pretty much, except for the 6 Feet Under thing. I can't fucking stand that band, but that's another reason.
The first album slaps. I'm gonna stand by it all day. Anything after that, if you want to shit on it, I'm gonna go ahead and let you. But I mean,
I go to Warpath, and then after that, I'm good on it. Like the first EP, and then the first one. I actually listened to it the other day. That's funny we're talking about it, but that's about all I give 6 Feet Under. After that, I'm good on it myself too.
Yeah. I wasn't ready for that kind of music at that time when it came out. I was like, this is not it for me. I need more. I needed that Swedish thrash death metal. I needed In Flames at the Gates, death on steroids. I needed the most I could get. And 6 Feet Under was such a curveball for me. I was like, so I get not digging on it too much, but yeah, there's a lot of influences there that I could pick apart. So I'm glad we at least got that part right.
It's not necessarily like the music in general, because like back in the day, my first band was called Grievance. We actually got to open up for them on their first tour at Harpo's down here and on the side of the state.
Yep.
And we got to meet them and everything like that. It's the first time I got to meet Terry Butler, and I've
Okay.
kind of like maintained like a half-ass relationship with him throughout the years. We've got to open up the band currently now. We got to open up for one of his new projects, that Inhuman Condition,
Okay.
and also Left to Die too. There was that ill-fated Left to Die show that was supposed to be happening, and unfortunately it didn't because of an electrical problem. So
Yeah.
we basically did Heavy Metal Parking Lot for that, which was kind of fun, but it still sucked. But I got to hang out with him and Rick Ross. Rick Ross is a friend, if you
Okay.
want to call it that. Somebody that
Sure.
I've been hanging with throughout the years and whatever else. And it's not necessarily that the band was shit. There's a certain person that everybody shits on, and he was shit even back in those days. And once again, he will remain nameless.
Sure, man. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Like I read you loud and clear, man. It is what it is, like sometimes it's a kind of a case of never meet your heroes sort of a thing. And we're in this day and age where it's like, man, I kind of wish I didn't know this person so much. I wish that person wasn't in the media so much. I liked them way before, when I didn't have to think about their politics or religion or fucking opinions that I care not for, where it's not about their music. And that's just kind of the day and age we live in. That's why I like to limit a lot of what I allow in my social media or in my news feed or in my household. It's just like, because I just
there's that thing that a lot of kids still have not grown up with because their parents are morons and they didn't teach them the proper shit. And there's 3 things that you're not supposed to talk about amongst friends: religion, politics, and money. I mean, that seems to be like something that everybody fucking talks about constantly. It really pisses me off, because it's like, dude, come on, there's a lot more to talk about than just this shit. You know what I mean? Even though tensions are high, everybody's got their side. Things have been fucked up for 3 years. I got my own opinion about it too. But that's my opinion. I keep to myself because I got class.
Well, that and who's got time to go around kicking hornets' nests and being divisive all day? It takes a lot of energy. It distracts you from what you probably should be doing and being productive. And going to war on social media with strangers and or friends and family members, and just kind of wasting that kind of time and energy. Who's got why? Like you're sitting here writing albums, dude. Keep at that, obviously, and spill all that shit, that energy into those albums, and then be way more productive and rewarded for it. So I mean, that's kind of what Jason and I seem to have done over the years. It's just like, yeah, let's just put it to song, man, because nobody cares. Otherwise, it just seems like a bunch of hot-headed, wasted energy.
I know we're not saying no names, but I bet his name rhymes with Brisk Carnes. Anyway.
Yeah. How about it rhymes with Kim Carnes? You know what I'm saying?
So let's get back to Centenary.
Yeah.
I had the question, how do you achieve that sound? And then I pulled up you guys' Bandcamp earlier, and then it says the HM2 on there. So I answered my own question, but I do realize that a lot of guitar tone, from the producer standpoint, bass is part of the guitar tone as well, right?
Right.
That feeds that low end, your bass tone, and like Nick said, I noticed there's a lot of distortion on the bass, which is cool because that's what makes them bass notes stick out. That's what gives it that saturation. So HM2, you even mentioned that you said that was something that you wanted to do, why HM2 and why that sound? I know Dismember, you said, was a big part of it, but tell me a little bit about how you achieve that sound altogether, just besides the HM2. Like, what amp are you running? And how did you take that vision and explain that to the rest of your band, to keep it that way?
All right. It's a complicated 4-part. No, I'm kidding. Basically this is simple. It's I found out years ago, being a fan, that those guys were using that particular pedal. And they weren't just using that pedal in general. Back in those days, there was two different types floating around. And contrary to popular belief, not one of the original Japanese or Taiwanese HM2 Boss pedals from early 80 up into late 90s or early 90s. That's the only time, that they made them. Is they all sound different. All of them sound different. None of them are the same. Okay, they use this weird little crystal diode, and the Japanese ones sound different than the Taiwanese ones, and then all the Japanese ones sound different than other ones. That's like okay, perfect example. David Blomqvist, the lead guitar guy from Dismember, right? He uses one. He's got like 25 or 30 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he uses one specific one, and like all the paint's off of it, all the knobs are off of it. It looks like somebody fucking threw it in the trash, But that's the one that's got the noise, right? So I lucked out, and throughout the years, I bought 4 of them. And out of the 4, I found that 2 of them had like a really good tone to them. Sold the other 2. One broke. And just when I ended up having the people in the band, because I knew they would never have one. Because, even at the time when I started buying them and stuff, I was getting them offline for $35, $65, $95, Now they're ridiculous. They're very, very expensive. Even the brand new, like, Wazacraft ones, any of the clones, the Lone Wolf Audio stuff that emulates that, which is a cool product, but it's got too many knobs for me.
Eric
they
uses
all,
that.
they all have that noise to them, that buzzsaw sound. When I first heard the Left Hand Path record, I bought the CD not knowing anything about it. It's just the cover was awesome, because that's what you used to do back when I was a kid. Shit, I'm 50,
Yeah. Big
And,
same cover art. I'm in.
Yeah, that was it. There was no internet. There was no way of doing nothing. If you were lucky, you got Metal Maniacs from the local grocery store, and you could read about it. Yeah, you see what I'm, one of the.
Fuck yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm
Catherine
like pumping up.
Catherine would be totally cool with you doing this, man. That shit was.
Yeah, like the first episode, we kind of, explain that, like, this is the idea, this is the homage, and we talk about her specifically and her vision, and how, like, that's a big part of, like, what we stand for here too. Her vision, we kind of wanted to carry over into the show with her ideas, her idealism, even, if you will. Like, there's no gatekeeping. We get it if you don't. We get it if you like metal that we don't, and then we're still calling it metal because we're just going to let people discover heavier, harder metal as they go, instead of being like, no, you're not hard enough, you're not good enough, you're not metal enough. Just let them wander through the gates. Stop tackling people at the gates and saying, no, you're not good enough to be a metalhead. Just, I think Catherine was like that a lot. This is a sanctuary and a refuge for a lot of people, maybe even outcasts or otherwise, so ostracized and so the rejected. Even, we'll take all of them. Get in here, we love you. So let's mosh.
Give us your weak, your downtrodden. Right.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so back to it. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I feed on it all day, man. I'm with you. Good. It's the same methods.
So basically, that's all it's been. A lot of trial and error, and I just always thought that was like, okay, I got that CD, and after I bought that CD, I didn't even own a CD player. I knew nobody that even owned a CD player. That's how new CDs were. And
yeah.
I waited 3 months, and my best friend's dad bought like a 5-disc turntable one, which was like a brand new piece of equipment down in the basement, man cave, so to speak. So I'm over his house, and I'm like, well, dude, I got it with me, and he's like, dude, you've been carrying it with you for like 3 months. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm just trying to get some sort of way of listening to this shit, Put it in the player. We sat down and we listened to it, and we were just like,
nice.
I mean,
yeah.
That fucking noise, he fucking cranked up the fucking stereo. That fucking noise, that guitar tone, we were just blown away. We never heard anything like that.
Right.
And this is literally 1990. I think 89, 90, 90, 91.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically when everything started really exploding, when I really got into I went that level because you're always looking for something heavier, like you guys say.
Yeah.
That's when I went for thrash, and I left the thrash except for some of my favorites away, and I went this way, and I just kept going higher ever since.
I think it's funny. I mean, it's you mentioned your age, and Jay and I are, we're a little bit younger than yourself, but the way you tell the story is exactly the way that it went for us. Like you're probably closer to my uncle's age, but like I did the same thing. Jason and I did the same thing. We were listening to like whatever music, heavy metal, thrash metal, the big four, and then right about the time like between like Metallica's Black Album, which wasn't even it for me as it were. Like I was I was already listening to like Rust in Peace and Among the Living, and I just was State of Euphoria was really big for me. Persistence of Time was dark and heavy. I loved it. And Justice for All obviously ripping. So, but we graduated a little bit later, 93, 94. We start getting into Death, Carcass, At the Gates, and we start going into the death metal. But man, to think that in 1990, a couple years even ahead of all of those bands and their work at that time, you're listening to like Dismember or what did you say, Left Hand Path, Entombed, like that stuff would have just like there was nothing like that to me. That would have blown my mind. Like, what even is this?
There was a little place over here by where I live in Warren called John Snake Pit. And this old man, for some strange reason, would always get the cool shit. And if it wasn't for my best friend and hanging out with him and meeting him in high school, the monster that you see before you would have never been created, so to speak, because that was where I bought that CD from. And that's where I first got fucking Harmony Corruption, Altars of Madness, Symphonies of Sickness, all the original Earache catalog, because none of the other record stores carried any of the shit because they're all like, well, what the hell is this,
Yeah.
Sure.
It was until 92, 93 when it really started getting fucking popular that they started carrying it at a store here called Harmony House, which was a chain-wide store that is no more. You might have had one even on your guys' side of the state for all I know.
We had a lot of Believe in music over here.
Camelot music.
Camelot, I know there's one hell of a record store there. We've played at Skeletones.
Okay, yep.
We played at Skeletones once. It wasn't the greatest show in the world, but there was a record store right there. Holy shit.
Yeah, we got a few cool places in West Michigan here that we can still buy physical copies of music, which I think I'm still a big proponent of, like if.
Oh, yeah. No. That's all I have. I'm not a Spotify guy. I don't have any of that bullshit on my phone. I don't download albums. If I get one of them little Bandcamp codes and one of the things I bought, I give it to somebody,
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I understand, like I'm not gonna wage war with the way that the world is right now. I get it. So for me, those are great tools to understand and find out a band that we didn't have before, Mike. And I like to utilize them. Like I'll definitely utilize them, but
guilty.
But where I stop utilizing those streaming services is when it becomes cumbersome for me, and I'm like, it'd just be easier for me to fucking buy this shit and put it right on my phone. And then so like I buy the physical copies and then I just put it computer, phone. And then and then I got I still have the physical. I've purchased it. I've supported it. And I'm not going to like carry it around everywhere and have it ruined. But like they exist in my household everywhere. And I just move them around, but I do purchase them and I keep them with me. Like literally, if I don't have my phone with me, then they're not in the cloud. I don't have my music. So it's still kind of a physical manifestation of it. But I got to have the physical copies.
Right on.
I love them. They're conversation pieces.
Absolutely. Just like albums, even though I can't stand records. Never even liked them when I was a kid. Tapes too. Like, okay, here. We'll do a little show and tell. You guys were talking about, Eric and them guys put out tapes, right? Well, yeah, our record label put us out on tape too.
Hell yeah. That's cool. Takes me back. Man, the fucking big red truck, dude.
Yep. Plenty of tapes in that. So, all right. So you had the HM2. We talked a little bit about that.
Yes.
That's a big part of your sound. What are you running stack wise? Marshalls?
Okay. No. Believe it or not, I got a club set up. That's all that I need. I got a vintage 85 Randall solid state Century 120.
Okay. Makes sense.
I ripped the reverb tank out of it, so it's basically just power. But the matching cabinet that I bought with it has the Jaguar speakers, which is basically like Celestion, Randall's version of Celestions.
Yep.
Just had a buddy of mine fix that. I was only down to 2 speakers, so now the whole thing fucking works, which is nice. And then you I don't know if I should tell you my settings. Everybody's got secrets. Everybody should keep those.
Yeah, you
secrets.
don't have to. I was just wondering what you're running for a rig, because part of that is your sound, you know?
Real simple then, okay? So I only personally will play Ibanez guitars. I'm a pointy guy. You know what I mean? I really like the neck. Primarily the neck on an Ibanez is what I prefer, and as far as my hand is concerned. Then I have this vintage half stack that I bought for $300. You know, not the head, not the cabinet, the whole thing. All right. And then the HM2 pedal and some chords.
Cool.
I tuned to B standard.
Okay. That helps.
And I'll say this: I do full mid.
Okay. Makes
full
sense.
Full mid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Live, our sound kind of punches a little bit more than your average bear.
Okay.
That's something I found from experimentation, thinking about it. Like if you're in the studio and you know, like you were saying, the bass, right? I was like, okay, we got this totally distorted bulldozer bass, which, you know, that's my pedal too, the distortion pedal that Jim uses on his bass. That's just a soft tech big muff reissue, which is made out of tank parts. They have a unique noise comparative to the old fashioned looking electro harmonics ones. And then I'm like, he's got all that low end on that. The drums are also low, but they're also high with the cymbals. And then, you know, lead guitar, of course, is a high. Where could we make the guitars fit? Well, there was only one spot, and that would be the mid. So I'm like, well, Matt, why don't you take on your amp and crank the mids? We'll do it like Slayer does. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, try it, you know. And that's where we went from there. So that there's that little thing. But the HM2 is it's a tricky animal. The whole thing with I'm very traditional about it. Even when we recorded the last record, and we're going to do the same thing again, recording wise. Mr. Thomas Skogsberg actually used not only one track, but he used another. And the history goes like this: like Uffe used the HM2 with all the knobs turned to 11, like he picked up from Leif Kuzner, who's the first guy to ever do it. Rest in peace, bro. But then Alex Hellad used the DS1 and did the same kind of thing. That's one of the reasons why, like on the Into the Grave record, that's how they got that sound. They use a DS1. It's not an HM2 pedal, something different. And yeah, so I'm like, if that's the way that the recording process was, like they liked Uffe's sound so much, Thomas liked Uffe's sound so much over Alex's sound, that what he did was he took Uffe's sound and, like, I think I want to go as far as to say like maybe 75 to 80% of it is him, but then he took Alex's and mixed that other 25% into it. So that's why, like, the Left Hand Path record has like such a unique guitar sound over like almost all of them. That's why a lot of people consider it the blueprint. Not only was it the first one to actually be released, but it was the first time that these guys started using this particular producer. And lo and behold, they had no idea how much this guy knew and how he was going to basically change the face of death metal and make Stockholm, Sweden, like, you know, the home for it, so to speak. And it you know, and then you guys already know the history. It's just spewed out from there like a volcano.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, tell me a little bit about the samples.
All right.
Yeah, that stuck out to me. I really like that because Nick and I are both fans of, you know, you can have a record that's 40 minutes, 50 minutes straight of metal, but you got to have something to break it up. So when I noticed you guys' samples, that was a great addition in there to break that up. So tell me a little bit about that, kind of where you pick and choose. Obviously, some of them are very famous, so I know where you got them from, but just tell me a little bit about that idea.
Well, years ago at a Michigan Death Fest that was in Flint, I actually got to hang out and get fucking stoned off my mind with Mr. Robert Berjod from Mortician. I didn't really ever hear them before up until that point. And when I seen them live, I'm like, what the fuck? So I ended up buying some of their shit. And I realized that, you know, the band might get angry if I say it like this, but back in those days, it was not necessarily that Mortician was the heaviest thing in the world and they had all these killer breakdowns, which they do, and I love. But you it was more the sample than anything else. The sample actually stuck out more, sometimes was even longer than the actual music itself, you know? So it became more about the sample on that than other things. And then, of course, you know, like bands like Carcass and all the other stuff, they are started emulating it and putting it in little pieces, you know? Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't, a lot of people get all pissy at me when I say I can't stand the criticism, right? You know, that's
Okay.
a holy grail for a lot of fancy wancy wankers, you know what I'm saying? But the best part of that whole record is how they did the sampling shit in between the fucking songs with all the weird true to life medical stuff. You know?
Yeah.
It made it more horrifying.
Yeah.
You know?
It sets the mood. I thought your album did a great job of that as well. I felt really at home listening to it. I was like, man, I was literally sitting there thinking like a man after my own heart. Listen to this shit, you know, like all of these samples, man, they were putting me right in the mood. I was like the hair standing up. I was like, because then you really do go to that intentional listening in your brain because everything kind of goes quiet. You hear a little bit of rain or some footstep or some creaking, and you're like, what's the story? What's going on here? Where am I in my mind right now? What are these sounds? And then the dialogue unrolls and unfolds, and there's hacking, slashing, all of this, like I'm not going to give away the entire, like people go listen to it, man. It's like, there's some really cool things. The little minuets or the little samples between, they really give you a mood. And that's exactly what Jason and I tried to do on our last piece. It's just like every song gets a mood setting before you roll into it, at least in some form or fashion, either by content or the music. So I really loved it. I enjoyed it, man. It was really cool.
Now, do you pull those off live?
Steve, hold on. Hold on a second. Thank you for mentioning that. It's like you're listening to my brain waves or some shit because I was gonna all right. These things were always available and stuff like that throughout the years, and we've listened to records and stuff like that, and you never necessarily used to hear it live. So when you went to go see a band live, it was a different subject. It was a total different vibe. It was a total different experience. Okay. So I would not put samples live. That's just me. Other bands want to do it and everything like that. I don't knock it. That's not me being mean about it or anything like that. But like the live experience is more, it's more in your face. It's more intense and the sample parts in the middles and stuff like that, I think in a live situation would kind of take away from that. Not to mention the fact that it's kind of lengthy, and it would also incorporate having more time taking out of your set, and you'd be playing less songs. So we end up trying to, if we got 25 minutes, I want to try and pack in 5, 6 songs, 7 songs.
Understandable.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I would look at it as an opportunity to maybe like multitask by way of like tuning your guitars perhaps for like a 90-second clip and letting everybody breathe for a second. I mean, you could steamroll them. You can just hit them with 5, 6 songs, like almost Ramones style, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just another death metal banger coming at you.
Usually we'll do like 2 or 3 and then take a break.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just one mid set, just to kind of give them an idea that if you do buy the album, you will hear the more just like this.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Just a taste, just a little sample of a sample.
Yeah. The other thing about the sampling too is that subject matter is also a big thing with me. Once again, like I said, got to throw that disclaimer out there, even though I don't fucking care. I mean, you want to sing about the devil, that's fine by me. Okay. You want to sing about, chick getting her vagina out, fucking rusty nail, that's fine. If you want to have somebody do this or do that, that's perfectly fine. I'm like, I'm shying the fuck away at. I'm going to go and revert back to my childhood and really, really try to write songs and stuff like that about things that I seen when I was a kid.
Okay.
Things that took out of me when I was a kid.
All right.
So being that I was a kid, all right, everything is basically PG or G oriented. I think there's only one song that actually has like a semi cuss word in it, and that's the word piss.
Okay.
So we're actually marketable to children if you want to go that far about it. But I mean, okay. We got songs about the 79 miniseries of Salem's Lot. Rest in peace there, Mr. David Soul. I got one that I'm writing now for the new album. It's about V. Remember V, the miniseries by chance?
Mm-mm.
No,
No.
Nope.
nothing. Blank.
It was on television. It was a landmark event about aliens trying to take over the world, and they
Oh, nice.
wore skin
Okay.
looking fucking lizards.
God, I loved alien stuff when I was a kid. Scared me more than anything, though. So if I dodged it, it was probably that's the reason.
It's all right. It's all right. There's other stuff too, like there's some true to life shit in our stuff. Like the song "Liquefied Rot" was literally written about I had a really, really bad sebaceous cyst on my chin. Oh, dude, I don't wish that shit on nobody. You know, that's why the lyrics are sebaceous cyst filled with blood, pus, and black piss. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what it was. When the fucking thing broke, it was the most disgusting shit. I highly suggest that nobody ever go through that ever day in your life. And unfortunately, if we're men and we grow fucking shit on our face, we're susceptible to it.
Well, I'll just on a side note. So that is actually the song that you sent us, and we did a reaction to that. So that'll be coming out this week. So we'll send you a clip of our reaction to that because that's the lyric video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool song. Liked it. Now it makes a little more sense too. If it was true to life.
Feeling it.
So we're
like
actually.
That,
Go ahead, man.
No. You're on. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
True to life stuff, old TV, horror movie stuff that scared the shit out of us, and like weird ancient history stuff.
Okay. So
that's
when
kind of like our matter. Our
when
lead is actually a teacher, and he teaches history class. So.
Oh, okay. So is this a group effort then? All of you guys kind of coming up with ideas? Because you say you're writing a song about, so are you writing the lyrics? Or are you just coming up with topics and letting the singer do lyrics? Or is it a accumulation of everything?
No, I basically said, look, this is going to be your job. And he was like, okay. And I really don't question him about it because the man does have a gift with the pen. You know, I might, that whole thing with the main line, "Liquefied Rot," was actually my idea, but all the rest of the lyrics, he writes everything as far as lyrically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I write almost all music.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Jay and I have like a similar collaboration. You know, Jay will come up with topics and even working titles and or, you know, final titles and say, I want it to be about this. And these are some lines and words that I want. And these are some references I'd like. And I'm jotting it all down, or he'll, you know, send it to me in a message. And I'm like, okay, I got a huge smorgasbord of, you know, material to work with. And I'll give you some lyrics in a couple of weeks or whatever. You know, I take my time with these things. Like you say, you know, you got to really, listen to the music over and over again.
Yeah, you can't rush perfection, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of like knowing where everybody's placed. You say he's gifted with a pen. Well, that's Nick. Like I can come up with ideas for things all day, but getting them solidified into something that really makes sense, or you know, something that's unique to us, you know, that's why I kind of put that on Nick because he's really good at that, you know. So kind of got to know your place, you know. That's
right.
Cool. That's super cool though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's turning out to be like a group effort. You're right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, for sure. Then everybody feels they're a part of it because we are in a band, right? It's 5 guys or 4 guys. How many guys? You got 5 guys? 5, yeah. So,
and
you know.
I can't do it all. If I could do it all, we wouldn't be talking like this.
Right. That's the thing. It is, at the end of the day, it's 5 guys, and you want everybody to have some ownership of it and be proud of it, you know?
Yep. And you also want 5 guys so that when you play out live, you sound just as good as your record.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm huge on the 5-man format. I like to have 2 guitars. I just don't, and I haven't really been as enthused with the lack of the second guitarist in my time. I mean, I've played with some super talented guitarists even in that format, but when it goes to having a guitar solo and it's just me on the bass there, and I look at the drummer and I'm like, man, I wish I had more distortion, or I wish I had another guitarist right now, but you know, unless you're Rush, you know, and just let me fly around. But yeah, you know, but not everybody's that, and it doesn't sound good all the time when that rhythm guitar is missing. And plus, if you got a really thick breakdown and 2 guitars on each side of the stage just pummeling, yeah, I'm with it, man. You got to have that 5-man format. I'm for it.
So we're segueing a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your writing process, then, Mike.
Well, for this record, and pretty much for the last record, I kind of came up with like all the song titles. And then, we kind of work on song titles, one at a time. Somebody will come up with an idea for a song title or whatever else too. Like one of our newer songs is called Shrieking Mummified Monks. And it's actually based upon these weird mummified monks that are hanging in this building in Europe, and their mouths are all agape and they look like they're shrieking, right? So
Nice.
that was something that Al came up with. And then, we kind of like we were like just screwing around. My drummer had a fucking beat. We kind of went from there and we wrote it while we were just like hanging out and doing band practice shit.
Okay. So
Sometimes it doesn't,
So will you just sit in the room and come up with some riffs then, and then just bring them to the practice space, or what?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes it's not necessarily just riffs. It'll be a whole fucking song. Like I'll get inspired and I'll be like at work and I'm working on my machine, but then when I got the downtime, when the in between parts, I'm writing shit down in the fucking ledger, like and trying to do some simple strong structure. I got these riffs floating around in my head, and then, dude from Bull Thrower put it best. You could jam for hours and hours and hours and not come up with nothing, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, 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 bam. You got like fucking whole song,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the only way that it can be done as far as we're concerned. It's how I work.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've come up with some awesome riffs with not even by my guitar in my head. I'll go over them, and I'm like, nope, I know exactly how I want it to be. And then when I pick up my guitar, it makes more sense, So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have. And then sometimes the fun shit's when you're just jamming and you guys come up with something, you're like, oh, that's cool. Or that
Right.
came out cooler than what I thought it was going to be,
I've during COVID when we wrote the second record, there was a couple times where I had some downtime and my drummer had downtime, and he only lives like a mile away from me. So I had him come pick me up at my house. We went over there. He's like, let's do this. And I'm like, I got a couple things. Let's try this. And, after an hour or two, we wrote a whole new song. That has happened as well.
Oh yeah.
Necessity is the mother of invention, brothers.
Right.
Hell yeah.
So would you say that it's a good collaboration process? Like everybody's ideas are welcome and you try multiple things, or how does that look?
Yes, I
Okay.
will literally say it, because not often, but sometimes some songs, like we're working on a particular one right now too, where I'm like, okay, if I play right along with Matt, this isn't going to work. So I'm going to have to do some like at the gatesies, kind of like, like his stuff would be more complex and mine would be a little bit more rhythm oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and
Sure.
kind of layer that on and stuff like that. So that's pretty much something else that I like to do too every once in a while. It's man, it's a good question.
It's
So
always
what-
interesting to find the pocket where the rhythm guitar might sit behind the more complicated lead element. Like sometimes you write that rhythm and it is that thrash rhythm that's just hopping along everywhere, and then
Right.
you think, well, two guitars doing that could get muddy and sloppy, so maybe I'll do something entirely different. So you have to write a chord progression underneath it, which always presents a nice little challenge.
The other thing that I also noticed too, and this goes for like almost any band that uses this pedal and is doing this stuff, and you have to write your music like a certain way, because that distortion is it's so brutal. If you play, okay, can't necessarily do a lot of this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't do a lot of this, because then it's just all like,
Yeah.
and even you're wasting your fucking time when you could
Yeah.
just do and just chew down on some bar chords and shit like that. Do some 3-chord punk. That's what that sound really, really, really emulates, and sounds really, really good using that. A lot of single note stuff. That works,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
but
The
you can't
chainsaw.
can't be the Dead and Dripping band from Jersey if you've ever heard them and use the HM2 pedal. It would just be a
Right.
fucking organic vomiting mess.
Yeah, I get that.
Uh,
So you kind of got to know where you fit in and where things sound rhythmically the best,
I can
Right.
tell you knew what
Sonically.
you're doing. Yeah, I could tell you knew what you're doing with your sound. You weren't trying to cram anything in there that didn't fit, that tone. I felt like, well, there's a good understanding of the chainsaw here. And it's actually I was telling Jay before we started recording this that it was ironic, I guess, or funny to me that I was using the descriptor chainsaw in my, like, I'm typing notes. I'm like, oh man, this guy's got like the buzz on. And then I see what Jay said, your social media or Bandcamp page or whatever. And it's like, and I'm like, oh, we're really going for it here. We're fucking calling it chainsaw metal. Like, holy shit! I thought I was just being cheeky, assigning this descriptor to your music, but I'm like, oh yeah, it's intended to sound like a fucking chainsaw all day, like Jesse Dupree's Wet Dream. Like, get in here, like, like this shit is for real. But no, you had good use of the tones and the rhythms fit those tones so that I could understand the music. And you guys didn't like bury it in drum work that didn't fit. Like, I thought the drums were really well played to suit the music. Like, it wasn't buried in double bass or snare. I thought when you guys went out of the groove to pick up the pace a little bit, you went to that little trot without going to like a wall of snare with a blast or something that, whatever. If the production allows for it, fine. But I thought the drum work was excellent. It suited it. It really matched the guitar work and the songwriting very well, because with all of that chainsaw going on, all the little bells and whistles that he was doing in there, all the little fills, they just added such a nice touch, to what could otherwise be somewhat a mechanical drum machine thing if you just allowed it, if you didn't have that human element. But it's the human element there with his style, with that style currently on the drum work, was really fitting. It really stood out to me as well.
Yeah, like the song Ceaseless Astral Dirge. That song really stuck out to me. I mean, it was a cool song all the way through, but I noticed there was some extra little drum work, some little bells and stuff on there that really stuck out to me. That was really cool, and that particular track really captivated me for sure.
Thank you. That's you don't tell from the samples. That one's about Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Okay, that's probably why it called to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, from all the times I've been abducted myself.
Yeah, beamed right up.
All right, so that's cool. How often are you guys practicing? You guys got a routine practice schedule? I know you guys play a lot of shows, and we'll get into that a little bit too, but what does your practice schedule look like? I'm always curious.
Sundays over here, Centenary Central.
Okay. Hell yeah. Sundays for Centenary.
Yeah, Matt and Jim drive here from Lansing.
Oh, no
wow.
shit. And you're where exactly are you at?
I live in Warren.
Warren.
Which is,
okay.
2 miles away from the Detroit border. Like, literally, I live on like 10 Mile Road.
Okay.
That's some commitment. You got a shout out to those guys for the haul, for the drive. I'm guessing they carpool. I mean, that's sensible, right? Like, yeah, that's good. That's a hell of a commitment. I mean, a 20-minute drive for me is enough. I think Lansing to Warren's got to be like closer to what, an hour maybe or more.
An hour and a half, depending on the traffic and what other.
Yeah, and I know how y'all drive on the east side. Y'all are fucking maniacs, goddammit. Like, every time I get in there, I'm like, so, like, I do the driving, and then when I'm with my kid and my wife in the car, and I'll tell them, I'm like, all right, it's picking up. Fucking everybody look out. Like everybody be on high end alert here, because once you start squeezing into the city down there, it starts getting a little more intense. So props to those guys for making the drive, making it happen for band practice.
So I want to talk a little bit about shows, but before we get into that, I got one more thing. Tell me a little bit about the production of your records, man, because I've noticed, you got the EP where No Lives Matter in August 2017, and then we go into the Graveless Beyond in 2019, and those have a drastically different sound. And then you come into the Final Frontier, which came out in September 2021, I believe, and that one probably is your most consistent sound-wise across the board or whatever. Tell me a little bit about your production. Is this an in-house thing? Are you guys doing it? What does this process look like?
For the EP, Jeff Sanders, guy from a band over here called Manic Impulse, he was the first one that did our stuff. He mixed and mastered it and did a really, really good job, and was able to capture the noise.
I thought so too.
We were pretty fortunate on the EP. The EP turned out really, really good. We sold out of that. That was 500 copies. If anybody wants one, there's one on Discogs for like $54 or something crazy like that.
That's always
Which-
fun. That's nice.
Really funny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd be
Then-
tickled.
The first album, Into the Graveless Beyond, was all right. It was a catastrophe. That's the only way to explain it.
Okay.
But out of the catastrophe, Don Durr, if you guys don't know who Don Durr is, Don Durr played in Temple of Void for a minute.
Okay. Don't know, but
He's also known for his live sound stuff. He goes and tours with bands and stuff. In fact, he just got done doing that suffocation, incantation, stabbing, skeletal
Okay.
remains.
Cool.
He's on that tour package. He does that, you know. But it was the first time that he ever did anything like this, and he recorded us. It was the first time that he ever did anything. So working with him and everything like that, we made the best of what we could do because, well, it was for free, and we weren't going to complain about that. Don also put the album out, too. Created a little record label, Death Psalm, and put out the first record. Death Psalm is no more because now he's too busy for it, and we always thank him for everything that he's done. He was an integral part in trying to make sure that the band stayed going on. That was when we were having drummer issues, and when I see you guys in the Grand Rapids area in March, I'll tell you all about that. But then we went to Jeff Vergils. Jeff Vergils became a buddy of ours just through whatever else. We had an issue with a gig, and the drummer that we had could not do it. So I was told that this gentleman was extremely proficient on musical instruments. Like, okay, no problem. I got to talking to him. He was all like, well, you know, like Prince is one of my favorites. I'm like, well, if you're saying that, okay, then you know how to play just more than the fucking drums. And I was right. But Jeff is an excellent drummer and an excellent guitarist and an excellent bass player and an excellent vocalist. So not only did that, but as well as meeting him then and having him learn the drums for this particular gig that we played, I also got my replacement drummer, which I have now and is also on the Death the Final Frontier record, Adam Davey, which the human metronome. Yeah, very fortunate that he's in the band. He's fit in better than anybody else that we've ever had.
Hell yeah.
I can't shut up about him. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam, for doing whatever you do and putting up with our crap. Kind of funny, you know, we're all a bunch of stoners and he's totally straight edge. So
no problem with that.
But back to Jeff. Jeff basically stated, he's like, oh, if you guys need your stuff, I can record it. You know, I'm pretty good at it. We had kind of an odd idea on how to record stuff. We did the digital format, but did it the old-fashioned way. Kind of like if you were running on tape, you know what I mean? He learned how to plug in, but most of those song shots that you hear on the Death the Final Frontier record are one takes.
Okay.
And, you know, he mixed and mastered. He also helped us and was able to figure out the way to blend the tones because we used the DS1 on a tiny little crate amp, kind of similar to how Thomas Gogsburn used the DS1 with the little Bandit amp and kind of like layered the two tracks together. And that's how you get the guitar noise on the album. So for this next record, we're going to use Jeff too. We're kind of stuck on him. And the price is right too, because he's very, very generous with us and doesn't charge.
He's the one that did the Death the Final Frontier then? That's what you're saying? Okay, cool.
My drummer wants to record. Adam, don't hurt me for this, man. He wants to record at a specific studio down in Toledo. So we're going to do the drums this time down in Toledo.
Nice.
And then we're going to do the rest of the record down in Adam's basement like we did last time.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's got a completely finished basement with it. It's all wood. Really, really nice. It resonates to sound nice in there too.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. That's actually what I'm going to be doing for the band that I play in, Iron Sharpens Iron. Our next record. I want to take our drums because I usually do everything, but I want to take our drums and take it to a room that sounds really good and have the drums recorded somewhere else with like all the proper room and everything. So that could probably benefit you guys greatly and get a different tone on it. And then if you already know what you're doing with the guitars and vocals and all that, like the Death of Final Frontier, I think it sounded great for your tone. I think you captured that again. There was a little hiccup there in 2019 where I thought the 2017 EP kind of captured your sound, and then 2019 was a little, but I guess that makes sense hearing you say that. So it was a little different of a sound, and then being able to come back to it. So cool, man. Thanks for sharing that with us. You got anything, Nick? I know you said you had a few things you wanted to go over. I have a few more things, but I just want to make sure we're covering anything that you had there, Mod.
No, I mean, looking at your notes versus mine, we got it. I guess I was probably going to jump into the same thing as you, is like, what's up with 2024? What's the outlook? What's the projection? I guess we'll make it a two-part question. What are your projections for your band for 2024? And beyond that, what kind of a band would you like to open up for specifically? Is there a band name you want to name drop, or just even some friends of yours who are like, anytime we get together, this is the band I want to be on stage sharing the night with?
All right. Two-part question, right?
We'll make it 2 parts. Yeah.
That's fine. All right. So I'll go this route and try and make it quick.
Sure.
I think I'm pretty much booked for the entire year already.
Congratulations. Good for you.
But we're not playing a whole shitload of shows this year. We're concentrating on finally finishing the record up and getting that put out. CDN Records this time around, in the contractual obligation, has basically stated that not only are they going to put it out on CD and tape, but they're also doing record vinyl. So nice. Not only do we have to get it mastered, we got to get it mastered for vinyl. I don't know if a lot of people understand that or not. You guys probably that, right?
Yeah, it's a different process. Also, we had our good buddy Addison on, and he actually talked about that process because he's very familiar with that. So hopefully, if our audience listen to that, they got a very detailed description of that, hopefully.
That's something that I just learned like 2 years ago. So, like, I'm pretty new about that as well. Mm-hmm. So it's going to get, I told you the recording process. It'll get mastered here at Mount Doom Studios by Clyde Wilson. Good old friend of ours. He's done like all the Temple of Void stuff and a lot of other local projects. I've known Clyde for damn near almost 30 years. He also runs a t-shirt printing place that we use quite often, and does a lot of our merch stuff.
Nice.
And then what else do I have here?
Who you want to jam with this year?
Oh, who do I want to? Oh no, the gigs. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, sure.
So far, no. So far, is this cool if I mention the gigs now for the whole year? Because that's what I was trying to gear around.
Yeah, say whatever you want to say, bro. This is your opportunity.
Tonight, today's the 14th of January, right?
Yes, sir.
You got it.
Tonight, the 14th of January, we headline Panic and Hamtramck at the Sanctuary.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
3-day event. We're playing very last tonight. So that'll be interesting to do. And then the 27th of January, we're playing Boggs Birthday Bash in Bay City, celebrating the illustriously funny and kind-hearted ladies that are the band Witch Fist. It's the drummer lady's birthday. We've done that last year. We're doing it this year. That's going to be a good time. We're playing with Sauron, another like super cool metal punk band called Jail. There's more, but don't mind me. Witch Fist, of course, is playing that. So that's January. Nothing in the month of February. March 9th with Evil Incarnate, The Black Temple, and there's another band. I'm sorry. At Mulligan's Pub in Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They hold it down for the metal.
It's what I've been told. Never played there, so I'm very excited about doing that. And then there's something else going on in Kalamazoo, I believe around April 9th. I can't really tell you. Not my business to do that yet. But I can say that much. So there's a spoiler alert. That's going to be a festival type deal.
Sweet.
There's another gig I got Easter Sunday. And that's all that I can say right now, but it's not, it'll be down here at the Sanctuary, and you guys might want to come out for this one because it's some serious old school people.
Hell yeah.
Like Legendary. I'm
Okay.
not. I
You
can't.
have
I
my
can't,
yeah,
I
no,
can't
you,
talk.
you have my ear. You have my attention, good sir.
I can
I am
talk.
intrigued.
I can talk that much, and I'll cue you in on that later.
Sweet, sweet.
Oh, March, April, May, June, and July. We're concentrating on finishing the record, mastering, record mastering, shipping to Canada, and working on putting out the album this year. The new album is called "There's No Resting in Festering Slime." And when
Okay.
you see the album cover, you'll get it.
Nice.
In fact, you might even get it when you hear the first song. But
Hell yeah.
the tapes and the tapes and vinyl will have 10 songs, and then the CDs have 2 bonus tracks, so 12 on the CD.
What's your
I love
target release date then? September again?
I'd like to try. I think that's possible.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for.
Okay.
There is another prospect. I can't tell you who's involved. I can't tell you the date because I don't know it. If I say the month August, that's about all I know, and that could change. It all depends on what my compatriots in fucking death here are going to do. But it'll be a festival type of deal, 2 days. And imagine like seeing the Maryland Death Fest roster and, picking and choosing some of the best.
Nice.
It's not going to be like, an all local fucking thing or something like that. These guys are going for the throat,
Nice.
So who knows who you're going to see? Who knows who that might be one that you guys will have to come down this way too. Have to come this way too for. Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the summer, that's going to open up way more opportunities to get down there and do that. With you being so close to Detroit, that's got to be awesome to present so many opportunities just to be able to jump over there, like at the Sanctuary, and play some shows.
Oh yeah, it's very very convenient for us, but not necessarily for Matt and Jim because they still have to travel over here. But them guys really, they don't care. They don't care. They just like doing it.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that they're a part of it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Isn't
with
Go
us
ahead.
being in West Michigan, there's literally nothing. The closest place we have to go is Grand Rapids, then Kalamazoo, then Lansing, then Detroit. So it's like, we're way over here right on the water, basically. So there's not a whole lot of opportunities, and a whole lot of shows don't come this way. So being right there, being available for all the cool shows, they have so many sweet shows at the Sanctuary all the time. That's got to be awesome just to be able to jump over there, either jump on a show or just to go to a show, shit.
It literally, Sanctuary is like 15 minutes away from my house.
Man, that's badass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, real close. Lucky. I'm lucky.
Cool. I know you guys played open to quite a few like higher profile shows. What would be like if you had to put a thumb on it? What would be your favorite show that you've done, or favorite band you've opened for?
Just recently, we ended up opening up for the Chicks and Castrator. That was awesome.
Nice.
There wasn't a whole shitload of people, but like we already kind of knew a couple of the girls that are in that band, so they were already our sisters, so to speak. So that was cool. We did. Let's see here now. We played one of the Sean Knight from Child Bite used to do these festivals gigs here. We got to play one of those. We opened up for like War, I Hate God, The Obsessed, and all kinds of other crazy ass bands. That was a cool festival deal.
Nice.
We played out with Embalmer quite a few times. These guys, we just got done playing in fucking Lansing with these guys. Nihilist Death Cult from Toronto.
Oh, the name.
Yeah, they're awesome, dude. It's awesome. It's like death metal DRI, real fast, fucking hardcore, but like pissed off vocals and everything's all angry.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we did a gig at Displaced Manor in Lansing with them and really cool our really good friends in Anthropic from Buffalo, New York. And they're like they're like, like straight up napalm terrorizer-esque grind. Really, really good. Really, really
Nice.
good.
Hell yeah.
Hey, fellas, real quick. I know we're coming to a close real soon on this. Give me 1 minute to use the restroom because I will burst like a balloon here if I don't.
Yeah, go
Right,
do,
right.
Yeah,
go do
I
your
know,
thing,
I know you can edit me out of this part, Jay, if
Yeah.
you want, but I
No, it's all
definitely have
good.
to use. I have to use the restroom right now. Mike, I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes.
Oh, we're good. So while he's using the ladies' room, do you want to tell me do you guys have any plans of touring, or is this just kind of a weekend warrior type gig for you guys, or
We do have we're available to weekend warriors, pretty much it. All of us.
Yeah.
I got a full-time job working at a gigantic industrial size fan place. I got responsibilities. I'm in my house right now.
Mhm.
Crazy shit like I can afford to frame a poster from my Emperor CD and put it up in my front room. Uh, Lead singer's teacher. So obviously
Okay.
he has summers off, but uh, lead guitarist has like some severe medical issues currently right now. I don't want to get into it. It's none of my business. Our bass player fucking rolls dope. So, it's possible that he can do whatever, but some guys are roommates and they take care of themselves. My drummer is a dad. Recently him and his wife had a baby. She's absolutely adorable. And turns out she's turned into a Aussie fan, which is nice. So,
Mhm.
that guy's got some responsibilities. So it's like, we can't just get taken off. Not to mention the fact that, like, I'm like second oldest in the band. Everybody on average age in the band, I'm going to say is over 40,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
a couple younger.
Yep.
I can't.
Yeah.
I really can't do anything like that. Now, I just got asked, believe it or not, or they had the potential ask to do like a 3-day jaunt with a pretty famous band. But something ended up not working out, and I didn't end up coming out with it. But at least the guy that I talked to was honest enough to, cue me in on it and say, "Hey, I was going to mention you, but it didn't end up happening." So just getting mentioned was extremely, uh, flattering and gratuitous, and all I could sit there goes, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get that, man. As soon as you hit a certain age and it's like, do you really want to go like tool around in a van with a bunch of dudes and eat hand on ham sandwiches? After a while you have obligations, man. You're grown, you've done what you've done, and at the point it's all about the journey. It's really not about, the destination, so to speak. It's like, hey man, you're living your dream still. You're playing music, you're having fun with your friends, and you're creating. Like, what more could you really want?
But here's this now, right? Like, I got propositioned by a gentleman that runs a place called the Heathen House in Arkansas, right? And due to my, networking, people I know that have played there, and I talk and they talk back. And the guy hit me up, and he does a couple like kind of large festival gigs there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in October. So I don't have nothing for September. October we have that, and then I have nothing in November and December. So pretty much our whole year is booked.
Yeah, that's cool though.
That's going to have to be like a 3-day jaunt. I'm going to have to get another band, and I'm got to make arrangements and do like maybe something, a little bit closer to Southern Illinois than Arkansas, and then back up to like Indianapolis and then home.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, for it to be lucrative, I think I'm going to have to set it up to be like a 3-day gig. And us on our own, we're not going to be able to do nothing like that. I could probably make some arrangements with another band.
Yeah.
So that's something else that's going on with that. It would be nice.
Yeah.
I've done a tour, the Ohio fucking extreme death metal band that I was in called Solidification. I was the vocalist back in the early 2005, 2006. I'm featured on the Vendetta Driven record. And I did a tour. I experienced that at least once.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked. It was
Yeah.
cool, but it
Yeah.
fucking all right.
Yep. I get it.
Yeah, there's obviously some pros and cons to the tour life.
Yeah, I've already fulfilled that in my life, at least once.
Yeah.
I've experienced So
Right.
I don't have that ambition and fucking drive like a lot of these younger kids have, and they, go, 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 like I'll give credit where credit is due as far as this is concerned. The kids in Throne, and I call them kids because they're all younger than me, obviously. We're tight with them. We've done gigs with them and all kinds of other shit like that. I wish them the best. But those guys are go, go, go. And if they go, go, go and they make it, that's why bands go, go, go. I mean, it's like it's like Exhorder versus Pantera. You know what I mean? Exhorder will literally has done interviews and said, well, they wanted it more than we did. That's why they got to where they are. I mean, and that's, self-diagnosed from a dude who basically influenced a hair metal band to do thrash.
Yeah,
and that's, you guys don't know that little fact. That's true.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. We're all at a certain place in life. I feel like them tours are good for them little 20-year-olds that can get in the van and piss in a jug or whatever, but I want to lay in my bed, so.
Well, it's not even necessarily that. It's like, who's going to pay my fucking rent? Who's going to pay the insurance on my car? I'm not going to throw that upon somebody else. That's not the way to do shit. You got to put out a equal helping part. You know what I mean? I maintain shit, and that's just the way it is. Responsibilities are a bitch. You can't necessarily do everything that you want to do if you want to live like I'm sitting here now talking to you, drinking my fucking coffee.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
If I don't get to a chance to do this, I want to thank you guys very, very much for having me on here. It's very, very cool, man.
Hey, it was our pleasure. We really appreciate it. Is there anything, Nick, do you have any other points that you want to make before we wrap this up?
No, I will ask Mike the same as I like to ask all of the guests real quick. I mean, and you might have already somewhat covered this, but very specifically, give us a recommendation of something that you're currently into for the heavy side, for the get up and go side. And then I like to have your take on something that you like to chill out to. And now listening to your album, there's no fucking chill there. So you don't have to hit me over the head with something like, I don't. Like if you don't chill, you don't chill, Mike. But what do you got? A heavy one and a chill mode. What do you got?
I got you, and you're right. I do have a heavy and a chill, and the chill your guys are gonna fucking laugh at. Okay,
never.
I'm gonna do my top 10. All right, from this year.
Hit me.
Okay, Nihilist, Death Cult, and Tribes of Pazuzu. My boy Nick Sagias. All right. This is Canadian crossover command right here. Highly recommend this. This one here, the Tribes of Pazuzu, also features Mr. Flo Mornier on drums.
Okay, we're familiar. Excellent drummer.
This is really, really good Black Death. This is like, like DRI, Bad Brains sped up with death metal vocals, pissed off at the fucking world.
Love it.
All right.
Good description. Good sell.
Anthropic's latest record, End of the Bloodline. Very, very special, 100% pure Buffalo, New York grindcore right here, ladies and gentlemen. This band fucking rules.
All right.
Guys, but same thing with Nick and the guys in the Nihilist Death Club as well. Supraliminal, the latest record from Nothingness. These guys are from let me see here now. These guys are from Minnesota.
Okay.
This is fantastic. Kind of an ear bender, a lot of an immolation influence, cavernous, incantation-y at times, just fucking like newer wave heavy, right?
Okay. All right.
I like a lot of black metal stuff too, right? So like the latest Black Braid record, this is just fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that hit our top 10 of the year.
This is fucking fantastic. What a great step. I can't shut up this band. I've been hip on them since they started.
I'm only coming around to them as of 2023, but I absolutely fucking love this band, dude. So cheers to you on that call, sir. Everybody, if you like music, don't tell me you like music and then not give this a fucking chance. Listen to this fucker.
The 15-minute fucking opus, the moss-covered bones on the altar of the moon, dude. That there it is.
Yeah. I want, again, I've said it before. I'm on record already on the show saying it. On the title alone, I want to listen to the whole fucking song. Take me there. I want to know the story and everything, man. So yeah, it's a great album. Yeah. I'm happy to hear you mention it.
And he does. He actually,
Yeah.
like, put up or shut up. This guy puts up.
Oh, fuck yeah. This he's a real one. So good call on that one, Mike. What else
Another
you got?
one you guys might know or you might not know. Here we go. We're going to go very American here. I'm not familiar if you guys even know what that is. The logo is undistinguishable. One-man project from Jersey called Dead and Dripping. This guy plays everything.
Okay.
And this is the craziest, twisted, fucking sick tech death you've ever heard. I'm not big on tech death stuff, but this is really, really good. And the Transcending Obscurity record label, just they blow the shit out of the water as far as like pre-production and stuff like that is concerned. Shout out to my old man Kunal over there in Dubai.
Okay.
I talked to him on a basis. Here's the weird one from California, Oriamos, which is basically like a mountain goat. That's what the name is.
Okay.
This is like some total cavernous death doom shit that if you could find this, buy it. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Seraphic Entombment from Alabama. Sickness Particles Gleam from the Everlasting Spew label. This is fucking also slow, plodding, very cavernous, sick. Sometimes they do the weird, like ritualistic, shouty vocals, but it's not cheesy.
Okay, I like it.
You guys know who in the fuck Cavalcade is, right?
Yeah. We're going to have Sean on hopefully pretty soon here.
Sean is a very, very old friend of mine, and I had to bitch at them because they only do vinyl, right? But they put CDs in the vinyl, so I'm like, you got to, dude, next time I see one of you assholes, right? I'll give you $25. Just give me 2 CDs, right? You know? So they mailed me the CDs, and the last time that I bumped into Bradley, I gave him $30.
Hell yeah. Well done.
That is, okay, even though, people don't even know what the fuck that is, I'm going to say that is Michigan's gem. That's something that some people wouldn't think that they would get into that they do, black metal infused pure oh my God, The Cure, Nirvana, you hear and Pink Floyd. It's kind of like a weird blender mix of all three of them, especially with Sean when he does like the clean and the black metal-y vocals. But there's like really, really cool heavy parts. The Snow Miser track is outstanding. This is really, really good. Here's a new genre you guys might not be interested in and might like it. I don't know. But this is a band called Tideless from California.
Okay. I'm liking the artwork all right.
Yeah.
The name's cool too.
Water. It's from Chaos Records out of Mexico. It's a double record. These guys are to Black Shoegaze, Death Heaven. These guys are the death metal shoegaze.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That element in the band. It's really creative. Very, very cool.
Would you say it's kind of drony? Do they go on and on with the droning sound when you say shoegaze, like repetitive nature?
Like literally, like you guys have heard the band Death Heaven before, right?
Oh yeah.
Death Heaven will go into those acoustical breaks and shit.
Yep, sure.
Like really, yeah, there it is. The same shit. But
All
then
right.
it'll just it'll come up into a crusher. Oh man.
Okay. All right. I like that sort of thing.
This is really, really good. And then my last one, of course, the brand new Undergang. I fucking love this band. Outstanding band. This new little EP thing has just some really, really fucking tasty shit on it. I highly recommend it.
Oh yeah.
Know what the fuck they're saying? It's even better than.
Right.
So there's that. Now the second part of the question to be answered. I am a huge, since I grew up in the, I was born in 73. So I grew up being one of those kids that first got cable before anybody else did. So I got to see the premiere of MTV, Video Killed the Radio Star. So I'm like really huge for like relaxing and stuff like that.
Sure.
I'm not what they call, what is that? A lounge rocker.
Right.
I'm not a Christopher Cross fan, so to speak. That's my lead singer. But I like a lot of old 80s new wave, like, Flock of Seagulls, Modern English, the one-hit wonders from the 80s. That's kind of my...
Okay. So, man, and let me see if I'm understanding you in my wheelhouse here. Maybe some Depeche Mode. I did hear you say the Cure is kind of on the chill side for me, even though it could be a little bit upbeat and dancey. Obviously, it's not all that all the time. But yeah, so if I'm understanding you correctly, yeah, that 80s kind of almost electronic synth, but chill. I got you. That's cool. Yeah, I can fuck with that a little bit too when I need the atmosphere and not the barrage of metal upon my senses.
Definitely definitely with the guitar attack too. Like the other one that's weird too is like I'm even more of a I like Rush, but like I only like the 80s Rush when he started really doing the keyboard stuff.
Yeah, whole different phase of Rush.
Subdivisions is like my favorite song from Rush.
Love that song.
Yeah, that's that era, because that's where I literally grew up, was that era.
Yeah, amen.
I got fucking hair in my face. There we go.
All right, cool. Well, is there anything else that you want to say, Mike, as far as wrapping this up about your band, or what to look out for, or where to follow you guys?
Keep an eye out for the new record coming out on CDN Records out of Canada. It is available on tape and compact disc from CDN Records Canada.
Okay.
Or
Very
you
nice.
can buy us at a show, but it's probably cheaper for you to have them mail it to your house because of the Canadian exchange.
Sure.
New record is called There's No Resting in Festering Slime. Out sometime, possibly autumn 2024.
Excellent. We'll look forward to it.
Show. Please support the local underground, and please support gentlemen like these that give my ugly ass a chance to speak.
Hell yeah, we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Mike. We'll plan on trying to see you out here in March. Nick and I will make the trek, and we'll come out and meet you in person, and we'll talk more metal then. Pick up a shirt or something from y'all.
You guys better bring the weed, because I am.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, man.
Hell
You take
yeah,
care,
bro.
okay? Thank you for coming on the Metal Maniacs podcast. Y'all keep it metal. Peace.
Man, appreciate you guys. Totally. Seriously. Very, very nice. Very pleasure's all mine, dude. Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Take it easy, man.
You too. Cheers.
Later.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.